Hey, this is David. Today we're going to show you how to fix an oven that's not heating in a GE electric range. There are a few reasons why the oven won't be heating, such as a faulty heating element or oven control, a defective wire or terminal block, or incorrect voltage. Let's work together to find out what's going wrong and fix this problem step by step. Before we get started, hit those like and subscribe buttons if you want to join our do-it-yourself repair community and get notified each time we post a new video guide. With over 2 million products in stock and the know-how to help you do it yourself, we are AppliancePartsPros.com. First, we need to get our tools together. Today, we're going to need a multimeter and a 1/4-inch nut driver. Also, please remember that safety comes first. Always disconnect your range from power by unplugging it or switching the breaker off before you start working on it. Now let's get started. The first thing we're going to take a look at is the bake element. This can be tested in two different ways, one with live voltage and one without. We're going to test both ways, so feel free to skip ahead if you feel more comfortable testing without live voltage. Go ahead and remove the 1/4-inch screws that hold the terminal block cover and set it aside. Then look at the wiring at the terminal block, the power cord, and the bake element. If the wiring looks good and you don't see any damage to it, we can do a voltage test. Just a heads up, the range needs to be plugged in and powered up while you're testing voltage. Please be very careful to protect yourself from electric shock, which has the potential to cause serious injuries. Don't ever test live voltage if you're uncomfortable using a multimeter. Now you can set your multimeter to the AC voltage setting. Then plug the oven in or flip the breaker back on. At the oven control, you need to turn the oven on to bake. Then use your multimeter probes to test across the two terminals at the element. Do not remove the wires when you do this. On the meter screen, you should see 240 volts AC. If you're getting the right amount of voltage and the element doesn't heat, then the element is defective and needs to be replaced. You can see that this particular range has a bad element, so we'll show you how to replace it later on in case you have the same problem. We can also test the bake element without having to deal with live voltage. Make sure your range is unplugged from the power outlet. Now find the bake element and remove one of the wires from it. Set your multimeter to measure resistance in ohms, which has a symbol that looks like an upside-down horseshoe. You need to use your meter probes to check from one terminal to the other. And just so you know, the reason we remove one of the terminals is to make sure we're isolating the element, and the reading we get is only from the bake element. If the bake element is good, you should see around 20 to 25 ohms on the meter screen. If the reading is out of that range, you'll need to replace the element. And if you're wondering if you can test any bake or broil element for continuity, an element can appear as good on a continuity test, but still not work. So a resistance reading is a much more accurate way to test. If the oven section and the surface elements aren't working, then the problem may be in a burned or damaged terminal block or incorrect voltage going to the range.
We've already checked the wiring at the terminal block for damage, so
if it looks okay, you can plug the range back in or turn the breaker on. Set your multimeter to AC voltage, then use the probes to test from the black wire to the white wire. You should be getting a reading of 120 volts AC. When you check from the red to white, you should see 120 volts AC. And when you check from the red to black, the meter should read 240 volts AC. If any of these readings are inconsistent, then the problem has to be with the home wiring, not the range. To fix the home wiring, you'll need to contact a licensed electrician. So we found out that this range has a bad bake element. If you found out that your range has the same problem, let's go through the steps to replace the element together. To remove the faulty bake element, make sure the range power cord is unplugged or the breaker is turned off. Then open the door. We need to use a 1/4-inch nut driver to remove the two screws that hold the element. Once you've done that, you can pull the element out and remove the 2 wires. Here's the old bake element, and here's the new one. If you've already got one, great. If not, you can pick one up at appliancepartspros.com. Now we can install the new bake element, which you should be able to do without removing the rear panel. First, you'll need to connect the 2 wires and push the element back into the holes. Then secure the 2 screws. Now you're ready to test the oven. Reconnect the power, turn the oven control on to bake, and make sure it turns on. You might notice an odor coming from the new element, but that's normal and will eventually go away. To reinstall the terminal block cover, use the Nutdriver to replace the 1/4-inch screws. Once you've found the faulty part, whether it's a bake element or something else, grab your model number and head over to appliancepartspros.com to order a replacement, which should arrive in just a few days. Make sure to share your repair experience with us by leaving a comment below. And if this video helped, hit the like and subscribe buttons to see more videos like this. Thanks for your support.